first thing first, right? So we're talking here about what? Budget and forecasting. So first, I want to be very clear on this. I mean, I haven't invented some of these things. These things have been around for almost decades, and some people, really knowledgeable folks that have been entrepreneurs have done a lot of work that I'm just picking up, bits and pieces and putting them to work for me as needed. So first, hopefully everyone understands that challenges presented by rigid and annual budgets have been known not for a week or for a month or for a year. They have been known for decades. The biggest contributor, and by the way, all of the above bullets, such as traditional budgets representing a retrospective look on past situation, not good forecasting mechanism, time-consuming processes that are really playing the role of a backbone of conventional traditional budgets. Rigidity and a yardstick approach to assess individual performance that's oftentimes linked to budgets and finances. These are not good things. These are obvious but not good things. This gentleman, in fact, is someone to whom I owe my personal learning of budgeting, especially in agile organizations. Regardless of scaling or descaling, his name is Jart Bogsnes. He's from Scandinavia. He is actually one of the key figures there, and he has a long experience in financial industry as well as oil industry. So if you ever want to pick up a book to read about agile budgeting, I would recommend his. He has been my speaker as well. I have invited him a couple of times to New York City LS community. So just so you understand, we're not reinventing the wheel here. We know that this has been around for a while. So let me first introduce this very simple formula, and I'm sure everyone on the call has enough knowledge of basic calculus, and this should not be a problem to figure out how to do, right? You got an hourly rate of a laborer. If you multiply it by a number of hours someone has performed work, you're going to end up with a cost of labor. Maybe it's simplified. Maybe there are some coefficients and some additional functions that need to be addressed, but these are the primary variables of the equation, right? So for instance, if I was performing work and if I charge different fees for different types of work, I would just have to do the average and the calculation will be straightforward. This is obviously much easier when one person does work. And this is just easy to estimate how much it's going to cost. But what if it's done by the whole team? So in other words, you have multiple people involved. Furthermore, what if you have multiple teams involved? So now you have not just one person who's got a fixed hourly rate, and you can do straight math. You got a bunch of people. Now, first, let me introduce you to something that may or may not be familiar to you, depending on what kind of personal thinking tools you've been using. I use a lot what's referred to, by the way, I'm sorry, let me just animate this a little bit. This is an average rate, and this is an estimated labor hours, and this, of course, can translate into a budget, right? That should be straightforward. So my personal tool of choice when I need to understand what's happening with the system is a system modeling approach, right? I like to model the system to understand what's really going on underneath, what's happening underneath in the hood. Let me give an example how it gets done in real life, whether you're a coach / scrum master or just someone who wants to explore the system and understand the bolts and nuts of it. By the way, what's here down below is just a legend how to read the diagram, but the diagram is pretty straightforward. You have a system optimizing goals. First is to share rewards among individuals, and the second goal is to increase velocity, feature velocity of a team. Now check this out here at the top. If you have rewards that are dangling like a carrot or candy, there will be a pressure on individuals to game the numbers. So if you worked around long enough, you would know. Once you've been shown an incentive in the form of bonus or some sort of a monetary incentive, you will be playing with the system. You will be doing something that that can get you to that high bonus. Same thing, if you can do this by exhibiting high velocity, this is going to be like a proxy effect. You're going to have a lot of pressure. What do we do to increase velocity? Someone can just say, okay, straight up, you have to increase output. You have to increase velocity, team. Guess what? You will be gaming the system. The value of reward, the higher it is, the more opportunity, the more probability you will have of gaming the system. And this will decrease the degree of dysfunction. So think of it this way. Is it a good variable or is it a bad variable? Good versus good, bad versus bad. Goodness leads to goodness. That's direct relationship. Goodness leads to badness. This is not such a good relationship. And of course, this is going to have an opposite effect on your ability to guide or improve the system, because if you have a lot of measurement dysfunction, in other words, your metrics or your numbers are not reliable, then what kind of so you can't really guide the system. Your expectation should be rather low. Here's another example. Feature velocity is high. Guess what? It's like a bumpy road. The faster you drive, the more defects are going to be produced. The more defects are going to be produced, the slower you're going to drive. So this is the opposite effect. It's a stabilizing loop here. So what you're looking at here, it's called a system model to understand what is really going on under the hood. And this is a very powerful tool for coaches and for organizational design consultants. I use it quite a lot in training and in mentoring and one-on-ones. So this is just to introduce you to the tool. And now let's take a look at the actual problem we have on hand.